had been caught in a cruel quicksand trap 25 million years ago. First, the herbivores were trapped, then the predators came at their scent, hoping for easy prey. All of them died because of a simple vagary of nature which made no sense. But over time, animals have evolved. Now they're capable of creating their own traps and even teaching it to humans. Let's go. People often call this bird dumb and whoa. Put aside your dislikes, that's the real origin of its name. Before boobies were too friendly and clumsy, they could board a sailing ship where they were easily caught and then roasted. And other boobies weren't at all embarrassed by the fate of their eaten brethren. But people were so impressed with the silly boobies that they even named mines after them. And it's quite an anonymous legacy. Booby traps were planted in the most unobvious places for the specific purpose of fooling the enemy, confusing them, and of course, hurting them.
Bomb has been planted.
Explosive devices named after birds could be found anywhere. Inside furniture, under stairs, in cars, in personal belongings, behind paintings, and even in the toilet, for crying out loud. In short, pretty creepy stuff. However, I was telling all this because of one particular trap. Here it is. See? Well, it looks pretty conventional. Some kind of trench for an introvert? What's so special about it? It's simple. The authors of this idea aren't human, but spiders.
Look at that. That's amazing.
Good thing there's no copyright in the arthropod world. Otherwise, the Tanzaidae would have every reason to sue humans. These spiders differ from their many brethren in their love of burrows, which they build themselves and close with trapdoors made of soil, plants, and cobwebs. Tanzaidae usually lead a nocturnal lifestyle and wait for prey by holding on to the bottom of the door with claws on their legs. As soon as an insect or other arthropod or small vertebrate catches the threads of web stretched in advance, the vibration enters the hatch. The spider only has to quickly jump out and drag the prey into the deep, dark corridor.
Yes! Got it. Look at that. Did you see that?
By the way, the oldest spider of this species lived 43 years, and all because it almost never left its small burrow. Now that's what #StayHome should really look like. Of course, people sitting in cramped spider holes couldn't spend decades there. It's just a hole in the ground, where a person could fit about shoulder height or even less, depending on their height. In some holes, you could only sit in a squatting position, and it was necessary to be as secretive and quiet as possible. The top of the shelter was often camouflaged with a lid, and it was used for a foray or a surprise attack. Yeah, imagine having to climb into that hole with a gun in your hand as well. Nevertheless, the trap, perfectly copied from the spider hole, was used in World War II and during the Vietnam War.
This lid has to be camouflaged to match the surrounding area.
But if everything's clear with humans, how does this spider itself create its traps? I mean, it certainly has many legs, but no shovels. Are spiders even capable of digging? Oddly enough, yes. Unlike other species, Tanzaidae have a number of hard spines located on their chelicera. In other words, the arthropod mouthparts. These two appendages at the front are covered with special serrations. You know, those things. Yeah, thanks, Harry. They're used to dig in the ground and to collect and discard excess soil when building a burrow. So you could say that nature created spiders with hairy teeth on purpose to dig burrows with them. Not a bad example to follow if you think about it. What do you think a gladiator, a fisherman, and a spider have in common? That's right, a net. And it's unlikely that spiders looked at gladiators in ancient Rome and were like, cool thing these bipeds have. I'll be using it during the hunt too. It's more likely that people were inspired by spider methods. And I'm not talking about the usual web stretched between stationary objects. Deinopidae don't weave such webs. Instead, they create a web between their front paws and wait their turn. When prey approaches, the spider stretches the web to 2 or 3 times its original size and can throw it on its prey. Honestly, this is one of the most unusual ways of hunting in the animal kingdom that I've seen. But not the most unusual. If gladiator spiders exist in the world, why shouldn't there be cowboy spiders? Bolus spiders use a silk thread with a sticky ball on the end instead of the standard web. This ball consists of a sticky, poisonous substance and twisted threads coated with a slightly less sticky substance. The composition, of course, is complex, but everything is thoroughly calculated. When the bullous spider sees a desirable insect, it swings around and throws the ball thread at it. Much like a cowboy throws a lasso around the neck of a bull or horse. If the ball at least touches the prey, all the spider has to do is entangle it in the thread and soon eat it. No biggie. This way it sometimes catches up to 7 prey in one night. And imagine if these spiders also had horses? Actually, if you look at spiders, it begins to seem that they're the perfect predators. Years of evolution have perfected even their traps, and now no one can hit. And what are those babies? Meet the assassin's bugs, the hitmen of the insect world. Not only are they able to hunt spiders, but they do it right in the middle of spider webs. To avoid attracting unnecessary attention from the spider, the assassin bugs slowly take the threads of the web and gently pull them apart until the threads tear. Then again, and again, and again. In this way, they literally tear their way to the prey while remaining completely invisible to the spider. These actions are so invisible that they can hardly be tracked with the most modern technology. And since the spider has no such technology, well, so long, buddy. Yes, to be a perfect predator, it's not enough to know how to set cunning traps. However, some insects don't need to. They're already born with traps on their faces, literally. Odontomachus is a genus of omnivorous ants that have simply huge jaws. Seriously, it's like nature decided not to bother with all sorts of hunting strategies and gave these insects all the cards at once. But the size of the trap on the face is not the only feature, because the giant jaws can also open 180 degrees, slamming down with unreal speed if necessary. According to scientists' calculations, it takes ants about 130 microseconds to do this. Hardly anyone can notice the whole process without special equipment. Just imagine, 130 microseconds and the prey has been grabbed with force about 300 times the ant's body weight.
But against smaller, soft-bodied insects, these strikes can be deadly.
It's believed that the jaws either kill or cripple prey instantly, but sometimes they're used for slower and more precise tasks. For example, for nest building or for caring for larvae. And that's where the important thing is to not mix things up. Of course, traps aren't only found in the animal or insect world. For carnivorous plants, it's the only way they can get any food at all. They can't chase after anything delicious. The largest carnivorous plant in the world is the Nepenthes raja. Its menu includes not only insects, but also mice, frogs, or lizards. After all, its size allows it to do so. But there's the problem. There aren't many insects where Nepenthes raja grows. To survive, the plant has to rethink its diet. Its large bowl full of nourishing nectar attracts small animals. After licking the nectar off the leaves, the animals relieve themselves, fertilizing the plant. And the waste is transformed into new nectar, which attracts new animals. And so it goes, round and round. And also, just think about it, the plant has turned itself into a natural analog of a toilet bowl. It thickened the walls of its bowl so that the animal could sit on it comfortably, not falling down and not breaking the flour. And the shape of the funnel, which the plant's bowl has adopted, allows the droppings to go exactly to their destination. All that's left to do is grow a brush. Yep, that awkward feeling when the largest carnivorous plant on the planet is forced to work as a public toilet? Seems like some kind of sad metaphor for employment after college. What about a trap the size of an entire tree that's also misused? Pisonia are seemingly harmless trees and shrubs that grow in the tropics and subtropics. But what is completely harmless to humans and even considered a great garden plant is simultaneously a deadly trap. Its main victims are birds. The large seed pods of Pisonia are covered with dense mucus and small hooks. Insects get stuck in this sticky mess, but when a bird is about to snack on this kind of fast food, it becomes a prey itself. The sticky and sharp Pisonia seeds cling tightly to the feathers of the bird, and often the bird simply can't fly away. That is, the tree acts as a giant fly tape. Often the trapped bird falls to the ground or remains trapped on a branch. Well, then death comes either from starvation or from the claws of birds of prey. It's not clear why the Pisonia kill the birds at all. Their bodies are quickly eaten by scavengers, so this is clearly not a way to fertilize. Most likely, in this way, the plant simply spreads its seeds by gluing them to the plumage. And the fact that many birds simply die in the process of gluing. Well, it's kind of a side effect for Pisonia, a small error. Unlike Pisonia, the alligator snapping turtle hunts without incidental victims. Well, even if there are some, they can no longer tell you anything. This turtle's trap is located right in its mouth. And really, why think of anything else when you can use your own mouth? Thanks to evolution, which gave the snapping turtle a thin, worm-like tip of its tongue, colored bright pink, all that's left to do with such thing is to lie motionless on the bottom, buried in the silt, open the mouth wide, and wait. Well, and wiggle your tongue from time to time. Something pick and worm-like, of course, attracts the attention of fish. They swim closer to grab their prey, then become one themselves. It's simply impossible to get out of the snapping turtle's powerful jaws. Oh, look! So it turns out that it literally lures fish with a worm, but it doesn't use a fish